Just like a zombie rising from the grave, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has received its final major content update with a brand new epilogue to wrap up the story. So after watching an advertisement for the mythical Pecha Berry, I feel very compelled to receive it through Mystery Gift. I'm not sure what it does, but it's a nice little gift. Though it got me thinking about that weird little plushie chilling at Peachy's stand in Kitakami. Before I can really get a good look at it, Arvin calls me out of the blue and wants to hang out. Well, I do love my friends who literally helped me save the world, though I can't help but feel a sense of dread as this ominous title card fades into screen accompanied by Splatoon music. Well, I can't investigate the missing plush toy right now, I've got to hang out with my best friends. Back in the Paldea region, Nemona and Penny have joined Arvin for a visit to our house. And I love getting to see them all interact again. It's been a while since they've been a part of the story after a few worldwide travels with their own perils that I had to do. While they did each get their own individual epilogues, I'm glad there's an opportunity to be all together. But now the call to action comes about as I receive a letter from Kieran, telling me that he and Carmine are currently taking a break from school and have returned home to Kitakami. Included are some extra plane tickets for anyone else who wants to join, and so our friends from Paldea can finally meet our Kitakami friends. And as we're just about to leave, we see Penny on the phone with her father, who's apparently overprotective. From a lot of the things we hear her repeat from the conversation, he sounds awfully familiar. He calls her trip an adventure, and she describes him as being super mega annoying. Immediately it brings to mind how Peony would act toward both the player character and one of his daughters, Nia. And with the fact that we know that Penny is from the Galar region, it seems as if Peony is the father. Though I didn't really see it at first. Sure, Peony's wife is definitely lighter than him, and I'd assume Penny's hair is dyed both red and blue, but it's surprising to say the least. Though I will say it's a fun connection to see, bringing back the Chad adventurer Peony. Anyway, one plane and bus ride later, we made it to Mochi town in Kitakami. Also, Penny's feeling a little carsick after traveling here, and it reminds me of one of my other best friends who unfortunately couldn't make it. And now we all get to catch up with Kieran, who I'm really glad is here too. The last time we had story interactions with him was after returning from the depths of Area Zero. It's great he was able to get back to being his old self, wanting to start things over again in our friendship. But now this is our first adventure together after truly reuniting. That can begin after he and Nemona battle because she heard he was a champion at Blueberry Academy. Of course, we don't get to see their battle, but are instead interrupted by Carmine, sporting purple eyes and doing the funkiest dance I've seen in a while. And now the plot thickens as we find out she's been acting this way for about a day, and it could be connected to some sort of curse or legend and rumors. Even though all this creepy talk has Penny adamant she'll be avoiding horror tropes, the group decides to have a welcome party in the community center, and thus we've fallen right into a horror trope. I love this moment where Arvin points out the fact that the TV just keeps looping the same tourism videos, so he wants to find the remote and change the channel. Like, for real, that's exactly what I was thinking when I first saw it. In all the commotion, Nemona wanders off, and so Kieran and I head outside to find her, and we finally see them. Even more of the Mochi zombies. And so the plot of this epilogue all falls into place. It's actually a zombie movie where the whole town has been taken over and the protagonist and Kieran need to stop them. The first battle is a double battle against some randos, and it's pretty decent. That is if you don't already have a bunch of level 100 Pokemon from all the grinding at Blueberry Academy, though these are level 80 NPCs, which is pretty significant. Interesting that these first two are using mostly poison Pokemon. I wonder if that's a hint, wink wink. After the battle, we spot Nemona heading toward Kitakami Hall. Chasing her there, we encounter Kieran's grandparents who eat some purple mochi in front of us, and both become mindless dancing zombies the same as we've seen before. Now it's all starting to make sense. Interesting that we're seeing this weird purple mochi as the basis for the mind control. Mochi was introduced in the Teal Mask DLC as a stat affecting item, though of course it's based on the real life food of the same name. These are little cakes, I guess you would call them, made out of glutinous rice flour. It's very stretchy and has an interesting texture, but honestly very good. It's normally sweet. Though I can't try these purple ones here because it's time for another double battle. I actually like that we're getting to see Kieran's grandparents battle with their own Pokemon, even if they're being controlled by some external entity. Now is also a good time to mention that I absolutely love the music used for the possessed trainer battle. It's so funky and, like I mentioned before, sounds like Splatoon music. At one point you can even hear some mischievous evil laughter in the background. It's so perfect. After defeating the grandparents, their mind control doesn't wear off and they instead just stand there. But we get a call from Arvin and Penny to return to Mochi town. Here we get a cool little cutscene where we finally get to meet the monster behind all of this, and we find out that it's the one making all of the mochi and launching it into people's mouths. Though I've become one with the Matrix so I can avoid it. Meanwhile, Kieran's just lucky. I'm so glad we get another cutscene like this. It even better shows the emotions these characters can portray and has a nice goofy vibe that fits the tone. But Arvin and Penny become possessed as well and begin doing the weird mochi dance. I think this might be the most I've ever seen Penny move. The battle against them goes pretty well. They're each just using half of their team, but I feel like they keep targeting Kieran's Pokemon. I think their deep desires are coming coming out, they want to keep the protagonist all to themselves and are scared of a new friend. Anyway, after defeating them, the weird little peach thing tries to run away. We corner it at Loyalty Plaza only to discover that it's instead cornered us. Nemona is the strongest warrior, and so she makes for one of the final bosses in this event. It's so funny that even under all the Mochi madness, she's still Nemona and still wants to battle. She has a lot of familiar Pokemon, but now has added a Komo-o and a Milotic. These are Pokemon that you can find in Kitakami, so I don't know if she snuck off and caught them at some point or if she just caught them while she was mind controlled, but I also wouldn't rule out the fact that she comes from a rich family and so just had those Pokemon there and decided to bring them since they were going to Kitakami. But I've already beaten Nemona several times before, so this is no problem. Finally, out of people to possess, Pecharunt has to face us all on its own. I like that more important Pokemon battles have had the boss meter HP bar lately, because it makes them a bit more of a challenge, and once we bring it down to 0, it at least guarantees the capture, which I think is important for Pokemon that are tied to these in-game story events. Upon capturing, we find out that it's actually a poison and ghost type, which I think makes sense for a little guy with mind control powers. The Pokédex tells us, it feeds others toxic Mochi that draws out desires and capabilities. Those who eat the Mochi fall under Pecharunt's control, chained to its will. It's actually so cool to finally see this Pokemon in action, even as a weird little guy floating around Kitakami. Hinted at way back with the Loyal Trio in the very first half of the DLC, this was obviously the Pokemon that gave those Pokemon what they desired: strength, intelligence, and beauty. Also, it's kinda cool that the whole idea about those Pokemon basically being zombies was right on the money with how this story played out. There isn't exactly some deeper lore to this Pokemon aside from the fact that we can piece together that it's connected to the Loyal 3, just very satisfying that there were a bunch of hints this entire time which I've discussed that all came together. I don't think this counts as a mythical Pokemon, especially with how its stats are distributed, but I do really like how it was handled, having a story event for it in the game accessed through a mystery gift item just like the old days. I don't think there needs to be a deep explanation of where this Pokemon came from and whatever legends or stories there are about it. Instead, it shows up after being teased for over half a year, does its thing, and we as the players are trusted enough to understand how everything fits together. I've really enjoyed the Pokemon of Kitakami, and so now that the evil is contained, we can have our reunion with friends and get our extra goodbyes with each of them, even though we'll definitely get to interact with them some more in the future. This epilogue was a great way to bring together the characters from the base game and the DLC while having their own fun activities. I really like the idea of being set up with the horror tropes of a small town facing a mind-controlling entity done in a way that fits the tone of the Pokemon franchise. Also, like I said, this was a chance for the player character and Kieran to have another adventure together now that they've made their amends and Kieran has gone through his own growth. Now he's really able to help out, take charge, and smile once again after he's helped save everyone. Of course, it feels like we the player were doing most of the work, but he helped out just as much as a video game character could. I mean, he held off an entire village while we took down Nemona and Pecharunt. I had a lot of fun with this extra hour or so of gameplay and story. I'm really glad this was the way that Game Freak went about doing things, giving us a little time to breathe in between updates. I've been saying for a while now that I would love if they did more small updates like this throughout the course of a game's lifespan, but seeing as this is an epilogue, I think we're basically done with Scarlet and Violet. But I'm very excited for whatever else comes in the future, so let me know what you thought about the Mochi Madness event. Which character moments were your favorite, and what do you think about the brand new Pokemon? Leave a comment down below. Anyway, after saving the day yet again, I think I could use a snack. I'm pretty sure there's still some Mochi somewhere around here. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, including great gators just like Lockadox, Kent Zero, Justin Dowes, Jen Eric, Cheeseburger Lasers, and even more. If you would like to support, see your name here, get access to emotes for comments, live streams, and watch some videos a few hours early, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter as well for more memes and Twitch for more streams. Anyway, this is Gatorex, and I'll catch you all later.
Introducing the pinnacle of Pecha, the mythical Pecha Berry. That vivid skin, that lustrous glow. Pokemon just can't say no. A special gift for any occasion. A thank you or congratulations. The mythical Pecha Berry. Coming via mystery gift, whether you like it or not.